This conference will now be recorded.
Hello.
Hey, hi Amit. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So you have done a lot of tasks. I was just seeing you've created a lot of
Yeah, I
things,
completed
na?
all those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice,
I was
nice.
able to evaluate.
So any difficulties you faced?
No, actually, it was good.
Actually, it is easy to follow that HR 400, even after 10 years, the same document I still follow for if any case I have any doubt. That is a nice document to follow.
Hmm.
So let's wait for minutes. Let's check Sweta.
Hmm.
Actually, today I was planning to complete this time waste types, and we'll start with the factoring then. Okay. So
Factoring and
just
averages, I think
yes,
how go to HR
actually I
400
plan.
once.
Yeah. Just I will averaging actually planned for the towards the end. Uh,
We'll
Day
call,
15 I kept it for factoring. After factoring, I planned for just cumulation. Then after cumulation,
Mhm.
I'll be explaining you these things. That is a retroactive accounting, and then last one
Mhm.
will be your from theory perspective averaging. That is your day 18. Actually, I kept it for the averaging processing. Then after that, I'll be that 12 rules I was talking about, those complex rules, that
Mhm.
examples that I'll be giving. And also you have started. I'm not aware of Sita what she is doing, but as you have already started, I'm happy. So those 12 rules I'll be telling you how to manipulate the existing rules, and you write those complex these things scenarios. Then we will
Mhm.
we will close by at the end of 20th sessions. So that was my plan. Other than that, after that also, if you're having any issue, you can always WhatsApp me.
Okay, let's follow, but I think some more thing may require, so might be some more sessions, maybe one or two or three or whatever. We'll discuss
No
later.
problem. No. Yes, no problem. We'll discuss. Actually, time these things it's more of a from an positive time management. If you are studying, then these things
No,
also will be
actually,
repetitive. It will be overlapping topic.
I was able to create two absences and evaluate them as per this chapter. That
Which one?
UKMS and UK.
I was seeing that. So basically, what you did that I was checking. So for that employee, you have created some overtime, or
No, I haven't created any overtime, but I just applied some leave. Go to the six at the end.
okay, so for
Nine,
another
nine.
employee. Okay,
Yeah, total employee I have three now. Three, six, and
okay,
seven.
okay, okay. So for this employee, you have created any absences there?
Yes,
Okay,
and I
let
created
me
one waste
check.
type 4K. Go to the
Okay,
last payroll result.
just let me check what you have done. So you have created a sick leave paid one for 3 days, right? 3 days. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Quota use 3 days. So for this employee, you have already run the payroll.
Yes, go to the last payroll result.
Okay. Okay. Let me check. PC underscore pay results. 996. Okay. So which one I should see?
Go to the last one and check for the waste type UKM1. So that is evaluated for these 2 or 3
Okay.
days.
Let me check. So I will check which one you told.
4K, 4
Article
UK1.
adjustable. For okay, UK man holiday pay allowance. Okay, so it is 20 2 days,
Mm.
40 rupees, 40 GBP. Yeah,
Mm.
am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, okay, nice. So this one rent allowance, it is different. Okay, so this one you have created, right? This for UK one. Hmm.
Yeah, as per that last chapter of that HR
Okay,
400.
okay. This was actually I was about to come. So this one you understood, right? What is the meaning of for period and in period?
Yeah, actually, this I know already. Yeah.
Okay, then no problem. Actually, I was about to explain this as well. So if you're having any, that was I was able to cover in retro also. Okay, so in period means for
Mm.
currently whatever you're dealing with. For period means suppose you have 5 months of retro, then whatever the months you have done the calculation in the current month, then those will be considered for this for period.
Do you have her number? I think we might call her actually.
Actually, I tried WhatsApp to her. Let me check with her once again.
So you are providing training for success factor also?
Yeah. Success factor primarily LMS and
Which module is good to
LMS
go with success factor?
LMS actually Employee Central is a must for everyone. That is Employee Central. That is a core module. Then LMS, RCM, onboarding. Onboarding you can take a hold because it is on going so many changes. So onboarding, if you are going, then go for around November, December, because there is another release is coming up in May. And payroll is there. Payroll is also EC payroll, but again that actually I'm studying now. So that I'm planning for certification.
EC payroll and this payroll, how it is different? Is it a very different one?
Actually, the backend will be remaining. These are whatever you are studying now. So those will not be go west. Okay, so those are the basic. Okay, so other than that, you have to understand a lot of new terminologies there. Okay, so in EC payroll, a lot of terminologies, but it is easy. No. These things actually not that much difficult. EC payroll is just 20% of this. Whatever you are studying, 20 to 30% maximum. But it is, but there is a lot of terminologies you have to understand. That is the thing. That I'm planning for around November, December. I'm planning for that certification. Let me call her.
I'm looking for this certification SAP HR. Is it right?
No. SAP HR you don't go for. It is not right time. It is going to of no use now.
So what do you prefer? To go to success factor?
Yes, please go for success factor. I'll try just to start with Employee Central. Okay, I will recommend that.
No, but if I have this SAP HR and success factor both, I think that will be added advantage, isn't it?
No. Actually, what happens again? You have to spend a lot of money on that, right? So I will not recommend, because in market people look for nowadays mostly success factor. If you are having success factor, then they will not look for your on-premise. Okay, even I have not done on-premise certification, never. For the last initial 6 years I worked directly, because it was not a mandatory thing. So whenever I was working with on-premise, okay, so but for success factor to get the access, you need a certification.
No, but if you go to CER 06, you can give six certification, right?
Yes, 6 certification you can give, but on-premise I don't think it is covered there. I'm not seen there.
Yeah, it is there. It is there.
It is there. I'm not sure, because I was more towards success factor. Sweta joined, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, one question to you. If you are investing, like I'm investing some good amount of time, right? In this learning also. If I move to success factor, Employee Central Payroll, is this architecture will remain as it is, the PCR, schema, pay result, etc., etc.?
Yeah. PCR, schema, these are the basics. These things will remain as it is. Okay, on the top of that, you have to learn a certain, there is something called payroll control center. There are some more advanced things. Those are actually on the top of that. Okay, so the EC payroll. Okay, so that is an added advantage for you if you are going, because if you see the learning journey, I'll be sharing the learning journey for that. Okay, for the entire EC payroll, the basic preliminary ask is SAP recommends to study the configuration of whatever the basic configurations. Okay, it is easy, means if you have already gone through this entire payroll stuff. Okay, so if you are going through those stuff, then if you see the learning journey towards the end, only they have mentioned you have to go through EC payroll. There is around 20 hours of training, okay, online training, and couple of more learning materials they have shared. But these are the basics. Whatever you have studied, actually this is not going to waste. Okay, if you go through another modules like OMPA, those things of not related to EC directly, but EC payroll, if you go through, then these are the whatever you have studied in the UK payroll or any other country payroll, those are will be still stay relevant for that. So that is the thing. Hi Sweta, you've joined.
Hello. Sorry, sir. Actually, guess who is there?
Okay, no problem. I was about to call. I just called you. It's showing busy. Okay, no problem.
Yes, sir. Kids were there also, so they were playing with the mobile.
Okay, okay. I was just seeing the pictures, the Raksha Bandhan pictures.
Yeah.
Okay,
Still,
okay.
there are guests. So, that's why I joined late, sir.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Sorry, sir.
We've not started. We just had discussing with some of the things which Amit has done. So he has done a lot of good things. So he has configured and he has solved the many examples from the exercises on that HR 400 materials. Okay.
Okay.
So we are just discussing if you are facing any problem, but he has done smartly everything we followed from there. Okay. So we are just exploring what he has done and what just we're just discussing that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So we'll start with today the same thing. So whatever we have covered the last time, just we'll be completing that. That time related waste type and how these time related waste types are configuration is done. It is more towards a positive time management, but this topic is a kind of overlapping between your payroll module as well as your positive time management, okay, or any time management you're talking about. Okay, so that we will be going into deep details. Okay, so this is we will start with some minimal case study which we are discussing. Suppose there is an admin company as we are discussing Best Travel UK, and you are discussing the overtime. Okay, so overtime, suppose you are giving, then you have relevant waste types for that. Okay, and Amit, as I have seen, he has created a lot of waste types related to that, which is having 2 times overtime, 1.25 overtimes. So those waste types I have seen in his configurations. Okay, so we can create those overtime, and whenever you are creating the overtime, okay, so there are 2 types. Okay, so whether you can just I'll be explaining in the notepad. So whether you can have those waste types directly, you can enter those. Okay, suppose you are creating overtime. Okay, so overtime can be of it can be processed in 2 ways. Okay, directly you can process. Can you see my notepad which I am typing it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you can directly there is a waste info type 2005. Okay, otherwise there is another valuation, you can process it through time evaluation. Okay, so whenever I'm saying time evaluation, it is through the time schema. Okay, it is through your time schema. Otherwise you can directly process it through overtime info type 2005. Okay, so there are 2 way of doing this. So we'll be seeing that how it is processed and how it is calculated, in that we'll be seeing in the demo. Whenever I'll be showing the demo, I'll be showing that. Okay. So whenever you're talking about the overtime, so it is actually taken from the how many number of hours of overtime you have worked and what is the rate. Okay, what is the rate, and also it checks whether you have worked on the weekends or not. Okay, and these overtimes also sometimes takes suppose if you're having a time sheet in your organization and you have a fixed schedule, and out of that suppose a 9 to 6 job. Okay, so after 6 p.m, whatever the things, whatever time we're working for that organizations, then if you want, you can, it can be considered that as overtime. Okay, so there can be different scenarios. So I've just started with a business case, how it will be calculated and all these things. So as I was mentioning, so working hours actually it's capturing your time sheet. Okay, so whenever you are working for an organization, generally the time sheet is if you are having swipe in and swipe out system, automatically those data will be processed and it will be captured in your time sheet. Okay, so whenever you are having any waste, you want to any kind of working hours, so remuneration types, that is another there is info type 2010. Okay, there also you can maintain this employee remuneration information info type. Okay, it can be working time, it can be bonus, whether that bonus will be calculated for overtime. Okay, whether it is a holiday, so there are different components. Okay, that I'll be showing you whenever I'll be showing that in info type 2010. Okay, so you can calculate those things. And whenever you are selecting any specific time related waste type, how these things actually calculated, this flow chart explains that. Okay, so first of all, you will be having your data preparation. Okay, so that data preparation is coming from your time pairing. Okay, when I say time pairing, okay, there is an internal table called TAGP. Okay, so time pairing actually happens whenever you are having a swipe in and swipe out system. Okay, so whenever you are having the time sheet or swipe in and swipe out system, okay, so in that case, after the time evaluation is done, okay, so those time pair formation starts in your schema. Okay, then your respective whatever, it will also consider your respective absences or attendance. Okay, so those are actually the input for the first table, that is your preparation of the data. Okay, that is the first flow. Once your data preparation is done, then after the time evaluation is done, then it will be classifying the times in different categories. Okay, sometimes what happens in a manufacturing setup or any organization, you are having a defined break. Okay, like it can be a lunch break. Lunch break is from say 1 p.m 12 o'clock to 1 p.m. Okay, so in that case, that lunch break will be not be considered, okay, during that time. Okay, so similarly, your planned working time, suppose you're working from say morning 9 o'clock to 5 p.m. Okay, so that is your planned working time. Over and above, if you are working, then that will be considered as overtime. Okay, so the classification of the times also will happen automatically in whenever you are running the time evaluation and all those things. So once it is done, then your select time waste type. So in the schema, the time schema itself, the respective time waste types, whatever the time waste types we have configured, accordingly those waste type will be processed. It will be selected and it will be compensated in your overtime waste type. So that is an overall process flow when it comes to the overtime compensation or the time waste type selection. Okay, so that is an overall process how it works. Then I'll be explaining these things in your schema. Okay, so there is a, whenever any time waste type selection happens, that is through our sub schema TC00. Where it is, I will just show you.
What is time pair? Can you explain again?
Which one? Hello.
The time pair. Time pair.
Time pair actually is nothing but your suppose you are having a punch in and punch out system or time in and time out system in your organization. Okay, so suppose you have clocked in, your clock in is time is say 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, in the evening you are leaving the organization at 6 p.m. Okay, so that is a time in and time out. So there, what is the difference between this? So you have you joined the means you have you came to office at the 10 a.m. in the morning. Okay, and you left the office in the 6 p.m. in the evening. Okay, so total the difference is 8 hours. Okay, so whenever you are running the time evaluation, okay, so success factor sorry, in SAP, your time management module, okay, it will, the schema will consider those time in and time out difference. Okay, that is your time pair. Okay, they call it time in and time out difference, and that is actually pair formation. So sometimes what happens during your time evaluation, you are getting an error, say the time pair didn't form. Okay, sometimes what happen, the employee forgot to swipe out. Okay, in that case what will happen, only swipe in time is there. Okay, so 10 o'clock in the morning, employee came to office, but while leaving he forgot to swipe out in the times in the machine. Okay, whatever the time tracking machine is there, so he didn't punch out there. Okay, so in that case the pairing will not form. In the next day, whenever HR is running the time evaluation, suppose, okay, so then he will be getting an error for that particular employee saying the time pair doesn't form. Okay, in that case what he has to do, the employee has to go and he has to manually enter, okay, in the time sheet, that the timeout means, so when he has done the timeout, he has to manually enter those say 6 p.m. Okay, and he has to specify the reason, like forgot to enter the timeout at 6 p.m. Okay, so those kind of things so we can do. And if it requires an approval, it will go to, that will be done through the your ESS. Okay, employee self-service, and there is a functionality in the employee self-service that in the time sheet functionality, those options are there. Okay, suppose the employee forgot due to some reason. Okay, so then he can come and he can manually put those data, timeout or any data, and he can submit. And if it requires, as per the business process, it will go through an approval through his manager, and the manager will approve that means in the MSS. Okay, so after that, whenever HR will be running that time evaluation again, okay, so then the time pairing will be, that formation will be happening there. Okay, so there will be no error. Okay, then that data will be go to your payroll process. Whenever the payroll will be processed, okay, so accordingly your payroll will be processed for that time pairing. Okay, that time pairing, you will be seeing those P10, P20, those terminologies are there. You will be, whenever if you go through, if you're interested, you can go through the time management module into details. But from a payroll perspective, you have to understand that time pair must be existing if you are running through time evaluation, and that is considered for your payroll. Okay, does that answer your query?
Yeah, basically difference between in and out.
Yes. Actually, it's an in and out. Actually, P10, P20. They use a terminology. P10 for time in and P20 is for time out. Okay. So generally, those things are there in your. If you go through the time management module in details, okay, those things will be getting there. That is the concept. So next
Sir,
is your. Yeah. Please go ahead, Sweta.
where will we write that formula? Like if it is more than 8 hours, then calculate overtime. Where will write that formula? Means
Okay.
according to
Hmm.
like client requirements. If standard is there, some standard might be there in the schema. But if we want to change that, according to client requirement. Like if it is
Okay.
more than 9 hours. But,
Okay, that I'll be coming to
so
that. Okay, that is from an
okay.
time perspective only. Okay, so generally what happens, you have already defined the planned working time, right? So you don't have to write any rules for this. Okay, so whatever your planned working time, say if it is 8 hours or 9 hours, so if it is beyond that, okay, system will automatically calculate. And there is another provision also. Suppose if you don't want to automatically calculate, rather you want to make an input, you can use directly manually also. You can make an input to that. Okay, so like input type 2005 or 2010, you can add those value. Otherwise, if you're running the time evaluation in the time module, actually you can write those rules. Otherwise, system will consider your, depending upon your schema, whatever your schema, existing schema is there. Okay, so depending upon your planned working day, suppose it's at 8 hours of planned working time and you are working more than that. Okay, so 10 set another 1 hour or 2 hour, depending upon the number of hours, system will calculate. And those are there are again two process. So either if you want to through process through rules, it is well and good. Suppose if you want to make it a manual process, then you can do it from the respective input types or the waste types which is you have created. Okay, so those waste types you can, I will show that. No, don't worry. Okay. So whenever you are running any time related configuration, so I'll just show you. Let me log in once again. That is your PE01. So this is your GT00, and that is for your time data, this schema. So if you see this standard schema, okay, so there is something called day PR function. Okay, so in the day PR actually is meant for your daily processing of the time data. So whenever every day it runs, whenever if you are running through time evaluation, okay, so in that case this function will take care of this, and TC00 is a sub schema. Okay, so this is the most another important sub schema whenever you'll be discussing about the time management. Okay, if I go through this, but double click on this TC00 schema, under that you can see there is something called block beginning and block ending. So line number 180. Okay, can you see that? So here you have determined planned working times. Okay, so in this block what happens, if you see this particular block, so determine planned working time means it is already depending upon your work schedule, that is your info type 7. So whatever the work schedule, depending upon your work schedule, whether it is a 8 hours job or 9 hours job, okay, so it will check that particular planned working items. Then in the line number 190, if you see, that is called time TP. This function, if you see what it does, so assign time type to the time pair. Okay, so this function is all about, it will assign a time type. When I say time type, it is basically a waste type. Okay, so it will assign to this time type to the time pair according to T555Z. So there is a table called T555Z. Just I will open that. Let me check. T555Z. So here, if you see, this table is actually all about your time type determination. Okay, so for every PSG grouping or grouping, okay, so there will be different time type. Okay, so these things you will be studying if you see into details into time management module actually. Okay, but these are the different time type A, K, M. So these are actually already created, people have created. So I'll show you which is relevant for us. Let me check time, what are the time determination group they have used. Let me check. So PSG grouping, we think I were using 10, right? 8. Let me check with 8. PSG grouping. Similarly, you will be having a time determination group, time type determination group. It also you can take 8, say 02. And similarly, you will be having specific time ID also. So let me check with 803. Okay, so you will be having those specific type. Okay, so this according to the time type determination, whatever you have done here, so it will be processed in this sub schema. Okay, so it will basically the time type functions, it will be assigning the time type to a time pair according to this table. So after that, once it is done, so it will the next function, that is a PBRKS. Okay, it will check your break time. Okay, so it will evaluate the break end time, including your absence or after break. Suppose you are having a 1 hour break, okay, lunch break or some other break you are having, and that is it's part of your time schedule only. In that case, this PBRKS, so this is an important thing also you have to remember. Okay, so that will take care of your all the break schedule. Okay, those are planned break schedules in total working hours. Okay, so this PBRKS will take care of that. Similarly, you have another function called KNTAG, KNTAG. Okay, so it will check determine indicator for core night work. Actually, this I have not seen, never used this. Okay, but if you are having a night shift, okay, in that case it will take care of that. Okay, so that is these are the core functionality. Whenever you are talking about any planned working time and there is a deviation in that. Okay, so apart from this, you have two another major functions. Okay, that is your demo function, DAYMO. Okay, so it will be calculate your day grouping. Okay, so what, depending upon your day grouping and all, it will be, so what is the day grouping, you can see in the table number T510S. Okay, so actually these are of a part of your core time management module, but for your understanding I am explaining this in this, being it is an overlapping between your payroll and time. Okay, I think I believe this table we have seen last time. Yeah, so this is actually your day grouping. So like overtime calculation, how it will happening. Okay, so here you can see, I think like there are some waste types, W010, W012, W014, and how these calculations will be happening. Okay, so if you are paying 1.25 per hour in case of overtime, then you will be using this W012. Okay, suppose if you are paying W0 say overtime hourly you are paying 2 times. Okay, so if your normal pay is say 100 GBP for 1 hour, suppose if you are paying two times of that, okay, in that case you will be using W016. Okay, so if you see, if you individually select and each and every time waste type, and if you go through this details, you can see these things. Okay, like the conditions of this overtime. Okay, the current day, previous day. Okay, so valuation class, daily work schedule class. Okay, so all these are defined here. Okay, and all these relevant like conditions, timing, symbol, if you go through this, then you have to you will be able to understand how this daily processing types will be happening, how the condition of timing. Okay, start timing and end timing. Okay, so these are little bit seems complex, but whatever the standard is there, generally people, whatever is there, you can copy also, you can directly use those functionality. Okay, so directly hourly wages 1.25 multiplied, so there are different multiplication factor here, you can see. Okay, 1.25 to starting from 2 times. Okay, suppose if you have to pay 3 times, then you can choose and copy, and this you can multiply it by 3. Okay, so these waste times you can directly use in your whenever you are paying through, you can use it manually. So this is all about your demo functions. Okay, DAYMO, which I was about to explain in the these things. Okay, so day PR I have explained. Okay, demo is upcoming. Okay, so see, this is a DAYMO function. Similarly, you have a something called GWT function. Okay, so GWT function, if you see, this is all about, it will be helpful for waste type selections. Okay, so for a planned work schedule, so this function is for, it will select your planned work waste type, and also it will be helpful for your overtime. Okay, so during the selection process it will be helping. Okay, so here in the parameter section, you can see there are two parameters. Okay, S and M. Okay, so and also in the third parameter, you can see there are two another parameter like DZL and ZML. Okay, so from an overtime calculation point of view, okay, so I will just showing a picture so that you will be able to understand this. Okay, so this is a picture, say, for this person. Okay, so the planned working time is say 8 o'clock to 5 p.m. Okay, so 8 to 17 I have mentioned. Okay, the planned timing. Okay, but if you see his time recording terminal or the manual entry, he has really worked till 19. Okay, so that is 7 p.m. till 7 p.m. He has worked. Okay, in that case, the planned working time, that is symbolized as a capital letter S. Okay, so and the extra work or the overtime whatever he has worked, that is mentioned by the this capital letter say M. Okay, so this S and M, okay, that you can see in this parameter. Okay, so S is for your planned work. It is through a symbol or the parameter. Okay, so it internally processes accordingly to your suppose if it is an 8-hour schedule, then 8 hours is your regular work, and whatever the extra work from the time sheet it will check. Okay, the time sheet or the whatever the time terminal or you have processed it manually, so those extra hours it will be calculated as an overtime. Okay, so S is for your planned working time and M symbol is for your overtime. Okay, accordingly those respective values will be updated, like DZL is for your planned working time and ZML is for your overtime. Okay, so similarly those respective values will be getting populated. Okay, so whenever you are running this kind of it's a time evaluation, you will be having this two types of table, internal table in the output, TIP and the TZP. Okay, if you go through into details of the time modules. Okay, so you will be having say S, as I was explaining, S is for your planned work. Okay, so whatever the planned work you are having, that is covered in the processing type S. Okay, that is the second one is the processing type M, that is for your overtime. Okay, so whenever you are working beyond your working hours, and that will be calculated as a processing type M. Okay, that is your overtime. Okay, So similarly, as you were asking, what is the meaning of the time pair? Time pair is basically whatever the total time, including your overtime. So as the employee has worked from morning 8 o'clock to 19, means that is 7 p.m. Okay, so the time pairing means it will be the entire timing for which the employee has worked. Okay, so that is the time in and time out total. Okay, so in that case, it will be called as a time pair. Okay, and if you're running the time evaluation, then those time pair will be, you can see it in that there is an internal table that is called your tip table. Okay, the time pairs you can see it there once you are processing those things. And in this is a scenario whenever you are running and the time recording. Okay, but if you are not using time recording, then you can also process this overtime, that is a type processing type M directly. You can include your in your info type 2005. So you have both the options. If you are using time recording, then you can use you can use this processing type S and M functionality, which will generate your time pairs in the time TIP table. Okay, otherwise it will, if you are not using time recording anyway, so you have always an option to manually maintain this in your info type 2005. That is your time recording functionality in that. So let me check if I can do that for you. Say 2005 for this particular employee. I think it is not running. Let me log in again. So this is just before going ahead, just let me complete this one. So this is the functionality of DAYMO and GWT here. Okay, so once this is done, so there is another function called POBT, which is responsible for storing. So all kind of storing will happening here. So storing of the waste types specific to your overtime, whatever those specific waste types you have done. Okay, so you have, it is generated or it is stored. Those values will be stored in your by using this function POBT. It will generate and it will store those specific overtime related waste types before it goes for your payroll. So that is from an overtime perspective. Then let me log in again and I will be showing that how it will be done. Other than that, let me check if anything is left. So here we have seen how DMO function works, GWT, how it works. Okay. So here similarly, whenever you are running, as I was explaining, so DZL or whenever you are running through this GWT functions, okay, depending upon your processing type, whether it is a S or M. S is your regular work schedule or whatever the actual work means, your normal working hours. Then M is your overtime. So as it is a 2 hours. Accordingly, there are two types of time pair will be formation will happening. Okay, total time is say 11 hours, but how this time pair will be happening is showcase in your different tables. That is, there are two tables. One is your that is DZL. Second one is your ZML. Okay, so in the ZML table, your overtime waste types will be captured. Okay, other than that, in the DZL, which is again taken care by GWT functions. Okay, so in that case, your normal working hours, so it will be processed. Okay, that I will just show you. Let me check whether it is. I have not seen this one. I have taken it from my system. Let me check here. In that case, let me check the input type S7. Let me check. First, I have to change it to time evaluation part. I think I have done that time evaluation of the plant times. Yeah, it is fine. I have done changes. Then let me run payroll. Let me check the log if any time related things are coming up. I think it is not coming. Multiple employment solution active. It's not there. Check. Ideally, it should come here. Let me check. First of all, first right? Demo function. Let me try what this time management status. Actual timing. Yeah, so here you can see time recording ID number, ID version. This actually required whenever we are putting any time event type group or those respective data. Okay. So here you can see the time event, okay, the personal time event. So this again is a part of your time management, like flex time. Suppose if you are giving like 1 hour or 2 hour, those time related variables will be working here. And if you're going with standard overtime, those indicator you can maintain it here. Okay, so time recording ID is basically a time recording terminal. Okay, so the terminal ID, suppose P10 or P20, whatever the terminal ID you are using, that you can use it here. But here, let me check. I think some time related configuration also you have to do to complete it. Time event group.
Which info type is this?
This is your time recording info type. Info type 7 if you are choosing the first one. Okay, so let me go back again. So same info type 7 only I was trying. Okay, so once I choose this time evaluation of actual times, right? So then system will consider your actual timing. Like say, suppose you have a terminal, it will ask for your terminals. Okay, which terminal you are your time in and time out. Those data it will ask for. Okay, so I think it is. Let me check. Otherwise, there is another info type. There also you can do that. I think it is 2050. No, sorry, it is not 2050. 2000. I forgot that. Let me check. Some 2000. It is 2000 series only. It is 2052. Absence recording is there, and another one is there also. What time? Attendance, absence, order configuration, availability, just quotas, completed time events. Okay, so that is a T-event table. They also call T-ben, T-E-V-E-N, T-event table they call it. Okay, so this time event also you can include. So whatever the time events is happening here, okay, so that you can. So here you are not having any time events. Okay, so here you can create the time event like time in and time out. Okay, so I think there is some misconfiguration is there. So time event, let me change this. So there are multiple this time management statuses if you see. Okay, so if you're not considering any time evaluation, directly you can go with the first one. Okay, and if you're having time evaluation of planned times, you can use this. And if you don't want any integration with the payroll, but ideally you don't recommend this, so in that case you will be using this info types, this subtype 7. And in case of external services, means like you're having any third party integration with your payroll is outsourced, let's say other software you are using like ADP or any other third party payroll, then you can use these things. Okay, so ideally we use this 0 or 9, okay, or the 1. This 3 I have seen people using frequently. Let me check with the 9 how it is working. Actually it should work. So once you go there, so after that you can maintain this overtime waste type as well here. Let me check if it is any values are there. Okay, so here you can see the timing, like suppose you have done an overtime, say 1st of May, let's see, 2019. Then say overtime hours, let's say 3 hours. Overtime compensation type, there are multiple rules here again. Okay, like whether you want to, depending upon your waste type you want to calculate, or depending upon your time off plus overtime rate. So ideally it should be, if you have maintained everything in the waste type, it will take care of it. And the last one is the break schedule, as I was talking about for a particular day, what is your normal break schedule. And in that case you can maintain like whether it's in paid work schedule or unpaid break schedule. Okay, so that is you can maintain it here. Let me try to save it. So screen has been changed, please confirm by pressing enter. Yeah, so here it will ask for at least say 3 hours or any number of hours. You have to put it here. Okay, so I have maintained 3 hours, right? So automatically system will take last 3, means suppose your scheduled timing is starting with you're scheduled to work till 4:30, the beyond 4:30 to 7:30, that will be calculated as an overtime hours. So let me create this overtime. So this is how you can create and manually overtime. Okay, so let me process, otherwise I can show you this event table also. So this is again from time management, like, but I'm not able to create because some configuration is missing here. Info type 7 doesn't mean, okay, info type you can create on a particular day, say 2nd of May you have 2010 19. Let me try to create it. I think, okay, info type 50 is not maintained. What is that? Okay, time recording info. Okay, time recording info. Yes, I think the time recording ID is not maintained. So for that reason it was giving error. Personal time events, subsystem grouping. So these are actually highly configurable. Like I'm choosing the standard one which SAP has given. But ideally it should be as per a client requirement. It is driven by mostly the time modules guys. Those people will be helping you. Access control group is basically who will be having access to which department. Suppose in you are having different departments, and only specific departments you have access, what you can do it here. Similarly, grouping for time evaluation rule, you can choose is whether it is an actual recording of actual timing or not. So let me try to save it. Still some number is missing. ID number 10. Okay, exists for employee number. Time recording ID. Again, it will be unique one. Used for 1268. I think some of the numbers they've already used it. I don't know. So let me try to save with yeah, I saved it in a random number. So ignore that. Just try to. So I put random number of this. Then we'll try to process this. Let me process the time evaluation. That is your RP time 0 report / NSC 38 RP time. That is your time evaluation report. Let me run the time evaluation report for this employee. That is 995 times 03. And we are using the time evaluation schema. That is your ZT00. That is for UK. And we will check the display log as well, and we're running the test run. Okay. So then if you run, let me check. Okay, schema GT00 is okay. We are using which schema? Sorry?
TM00 or TM04?
Okay. Oh, yes. Sorry. Actually, TMU. That we're using this one. So this is our whenever we are running any kind of time related these things. So for every day you will be getting this kind of tip table. You will be getting this. So here you can see the time input, the time output. So whatever I think it is, we have tried for May month, right? Whatever May month. It is for April, I think. Yeah. Let me check the tip table for May. So for the month of May, if I go and check the tip table here, I can try to this demo is not there.
So how the flow, like you are booking some overtime, then using this schema, you are generating the clusters.
Yes, exactly. So generally the cluster is generated from here. So I'm not able to showcase here, but ideally this tip, it will be showing like that only. Okay, so the tip inside the tip table, whatever the time pairing formation, you can see there. Okay, so accordingly your all the calculation will be happening here. So here I can't show you this. Let me check. Let me run it for another employee which I tried. We put it for the month of May, right? So let me check with the month of May only. So here you can see, so for the month of May 2nd, okay, so we had this PSP table. So here number of hours it was fixed, okay, so 7.5 hours that is a fixed, but in the output if you see we have no, something is missing there. So there was a normal like 16.5 in the that is a time ID, and you have not mentioned anything in the break period. Okay, so for that reason the break period is showing as a blank here, and overtime starts from your 16.5 onwards. Like if you're working beyond 4:30 hours, so 4:30 p.m., then that will be considered in your TZP. So whenever you are having those specific values, this is how this TIP table and TZP table, this will capture your respective values here. Okay, and similarly, just I wanted to show you something here. Let me check. So every day this kind of time evaluation will be happening. Suppose if you are considering this kind of process. Okay, so here if the employee is absent, say employee is not at work, okay, so that system will take care of it. Like that day he is absent, or those respective values, it will come there. Okay, so similarly for any other days also, let me check that demo function is working or not here. Yeah, so this here you can see the demo function here. So as I was explaining you, the demo function, what it does, so basically it I was explaining here, just a minute, showing. So basically the demo function is used to determine which rules are referenced for the time waste step selection. Okay, so for a particular day you can have different functions, right? So the demo function will determine which time waste type selection will be happening in a particular day. So there can be different categories. Okay, so like whether it is public holiday, or it is an Sunday, or it is a those respective, according to day grouping. Okay, so this day demo function will determine, say 01, 02, 02, 02, means whether it is an that particular day is a public holiday, or day grouping, which day grouping it belongs to. Okay, so that it will see here. So it is now, it is part of a day grouping one. So this is determined here. And as I was explaining, another important functions here, that is your GWT, which you can see it now. So again, GWT will be having two kinds of processing type. Okay, so it can be S, it can be M. Okay, so as I was explaining, so S is basically for your normal working hours. Okay, so similarly your this M type will be your normal, your overtiming. Okay, so this is how this bifurcation will be happening here. Okay, in those respective tables. Okay, but I can't see those values. I think some data is missing, or something we have manipulated. But accordingly, whatever the values in the time evaluation, in this function, by using these functions, so all your processing will be happening. Okay, so all the time related data, these are the key tables. Okay, TIP, DZL, and TIP ZML. ZML is for your overtime, and DZL actually it is for your normal standard working time. Okay, this is how this time evaluation will be happening in your respective tables. Okay, so these are the specific rules. So how it will be in a particular rule group, how it will be calculation will be happening, it is according to your this rule grouping, like whether it is a normal hour, okay, or it is overtime. Okay, depending upon your overtime, everything will be in the tip table. So whatever a tip table you are seeing, okay, so whenever you are running this time evaluation, accordingly, whether it is the rule is fulfilled or not, accordingly this tip table will take care of it. And respective waste types, whatever the waste types you have respective in those number of working hours or the normal hour, those waste type will be processed, and it is this waste type your overtime calculation will be happening. So overtime process, actually it's an most of the organization which basically in the manufacturing setup or any hospitality, those people I have seen they used. Okay, but for public sector, again it depends upon your business processes. Okay, so how you are handling this, you can use this kind of rules you can configure and all. Similarly, you will be having something called valuation class. So this valuation class we'll discussing later on, like your depending upon your valuation class 1 or 2 or 3. Okay, those how this overtime bonus and overtime shifting. Okay, whether you are having a normal shift or rotating shift, okay, those will be coming into this picture. So we have, these are actually predefined, like which valuation class to where to use where. Okay, you don't have to apply anything. Okay, only you have to, during your requirement gathering, you will be considering which kind of valuation class will be using. Okay, similarly this period work schedule also, as I was explaining, so here also those valuation classes will be you will be putting there. Okay, so those valuation class, what valuation class you will be going to use. Okay, so those are predefined. According to your requirement, you have to put those fixed value, whether it is a 2 or 1 or 2 3. Okay, whether it is a weekdays or weekends. Okay, accordingly you will be planning this, and you will be putting these specific valuation classes in that. And other than that, I will just go through this. Let me check if anything is so when it is this diagram explains how this processing will be happening. Okay, as I was explaining, so depending upon your processing type, so there are two kinds of processing type. S is for your planned working time. Okay, so whenever you are putting this processing types in you are going through processing type S. Okay, so there is a table, this table, that is your V554C underscore E. What it does, I will just show you that. This is actually an internal mechanism, how it works, and it's very interesting to know. But you don't have to configure too much here. Okay, so like most of the things are standard, but you have to, it is better to understand those how it works, so that if you want to manipulate in the future sometimes, then you can manipulate here. So this is a table where exactly you're depending upon your work area and all. Okay, so this one also we have seen, that is it's your EGIF principle. Okay, so depending upon your grouping and all, you can check whatever those time waste type selections and all, like whether this overtime is 100% or 20% or 50%. Okay, so here you can see, depending upon your specific type, how this processing will be happening. So DZL means it will be like your normal working hours, say the respective waste type, say MI10, or whenever you are having this, if the entry is not processed according to AZ principle, then it will be considered in this. So suppose say it is an overtime. Okay, in case of overtime, it will go to this ZML table. Okay, so ZML table, then it will be go through this. So this is just a diagrammatic representation how those waste type will be generated, generally waste type from the tip table to how towards the GZL or DZML. Okay, so GWT function helps in that. Okay, how GWT function, it helps for your both planned working time as well as your overtime. Only thing is you have to consider the processing type is different. That is S for your normal working time, M is for your overtime. Okay. So these are all standard. Okay, so whatever the values you are maintaining, accordingly these calculations will be happening. So you don't have to manipulate too much here in the rules and all. Just have to maintain those values according to the tip entries. It will calculate. Okay, so this is, I already explained, like GWT function, it will generate your time tip entries depending upon your time waste types or whatever the selections you are doing. Okay. So accordingly this GWT function will generate specific type S processing type or type M. Okay, so accordingly it is a DZL or ZML. Okay, so those entries it will be calculating, and respective values will be considered. Okay, so this is how this TC0, this is a schema, or the inside the schema which I have already explained, that is your TC00 sub schema under the main schema. So this I already explained. DPR will be calling the sub schema TC00. Okay, so whenever your day PR means, which you have seen like here, DAYMO we have seen. Similarly, we have another function called day PR, which we've seen previously. So that function will be processing your day types, whatever the day types you are having. So accordingly, it will process those working time and overtime accordingly. And this is from a time evaluation, the payroll from a cluster point of view. Okay, so whenever you're running those time evaluation in the payroll, okay, so it will check your info type 3 in the payroll status. So when was the last master data change earliest? Okay, and it will run those time evaluation first for those respective cluster. Okay, so first, then remaining the time waste type selection in the payroll. So this is how the time cluster, your ZL table, C1 table, there are multiple, so many cluster table in the time evaluation also that you will study in whenever you will be going through deep dive into the time management, into deep time schema. If you go to into deep level, then how this time evaluation, it will be as an work as an input. Okay, so this will be an input to your payroll, and accordingly your entire this payroll calculation will be happening. So basically you will be having three types of internal table. So those internal tables are the interface between your time evaluation and your payroll. Okay, so whenever you are running any kind of time evaluation, there are three types of internal table. That is your ZL, which will contain your all of your time related waste types. Similarly, you will be having another internal table, that is your C1, which will be relevant to your all the cost assignments and all. And the third one is your ALP, that is it will contain all your data for the different payments. So for the depending upon your different payments, it will consider your so there are three kinds of time evaluation related and payroll related interface table. Okay, so these are internal tables you will be having whenever you are generating any kind of time evaluation. So these three tables you can see it. Let me check if I can show you in your PC underscore pay result. If it is there, I can show you. I think it is gone. So I think I've logged in again. If it is there, I can show you. Yeah, so here you can see some of them, like C0, that is for your cost distribution. UK cost center, it is 100% company code, this is there. But time related in BT is a payment information, results table. Inside results table, you'll be getting all this. Then similarly should get, let me check what table we are seeing there. Oh, I think it's a PT60 I have to run. Let me check. So here you can see there is a cluster table called ALP, which I was explaining. Okay, so it contains the data for the different payments here. Okay, so I think those respective data is not there. Okay, otherwise this table will contain your all of your data related to different payments methods. Similarly, this C1 table, this table will be containing all of your relevant, whatever the relevant cost assignments is there, that will be there. And whatever the related to your ZL, that will be here in this table. Let me open, let me So basically this information will be getting in your specific time management module as well. Okay. So I can't see that, but actually this JDL table will contain all of your time related waste types. Okay, so like table JDL, it will contain the number of hours per time waste type and whatever that determined in the payroll. Okay, so but there is a conditions here you have to remember. The precondition whenever payroll will be generating the time waste types, it sets the retroactive accounting in the EDM or earliest master data change field in the payroll status info type. So there is this is an important info type in the info type 3. Depending upon your info type 3 settings, all this will work. Okay. And the precondition is that the employee included in the time evaluation, the time management status is not 0. Okay. If the time management status is 0, it will not work. Mostly though, if you are having specific time management status, a line or one, whatever the time status, though accordingly, then only your time evaluation process. So the entire time evaluation process will work, and your respective cluster table, say ZL, C1 or ALP, this will be formation, it will be working. Okay, so then your respective tables will be getting updated, and this is how the entire time waste types and how it is related to your payroll. Okay, so basically from an understanding point of view, you have to remember those specific functions like day PR function, what is the function of POBT function. Okay, and the basics of the schema as well, like TC00, what does it do. Okay, and what does this other tables, which table like TIP table, what it does. So what are the different processing types like S and M. Okay, S is for planned working time, M is for your overtime. And what if you're not using time recording, then you can directly manipulate in your infotype 2005. You can directly manipulate and you can calculate. Okay, similarly, whenever you are setting up the time waste type selections, then you can use this demo function or the GWT functions. Okay, and this is the same business case we have seen. Okay, so these specific tables will be getting updated. Okay, so whatever the tables, and depending upon your conditions type, now demo function. Okay, so your respective waste types for that particular relevant day, it will calculate whether it is a normal hours or it is an overtime. Okay, or it is a night bonus. Depending upon your the settings, it will work this rule grouping. So this is the overall process for the time related waste types whenever with respect to your payroll. Okay. But if you want to study more, you can directly deep dive into your uh, time management specific topics. You can directly go through those stuff here. So this is all about for your time related these things. And factoring, I think we'll start in the next session. Okay. So I'll be talking about, so another 4 session will be completing this theoretical part, like we'll be covering factoring. Factoring is easy, so compared to this thing. So factoring, I'll be showing one example, and I'll be specific this how this payroll factoring will work, and there are different calculation method. Okay, so that I will show with an example. Not only the screenshot, I'll be showing this example how this payroll factoring will work. It will completely take one session. Okay, so next week we will be seeing it. Okay. So after the factoring it is done, then we'll be seeing the easy topic, little easy topic like cumulation. So how this cumulation will be happening, your how the input from input table IT, it is going to output table and results table RT. And most important function is the ADCU, ADCU function we'll be seeing. That we'll be seeing, and then after that we will be proceeding for the retro. Retro is again relatively easy, how this retro calculation happens in the back end. Okay, so as you know how already, but how this retro calculation will be happening in the back end, that I will be showcase. Okay, so with an example again, we will be see, and towards the end we will be seeing this average calculation. So how this average calculation will be happening, time with respect to time and payroll, that we'll be seeing. So around 4 sessions I'm planned for the from the theoretical point of view. Then after that, whatever the topic we are with respect to schema modifications, those 12 complex relevant case studies that I'll be covering in 1 or 2 sessions. Okay, then after that, if it requires another 1 or 2 sessions also, I can plan for. Okay, that is for all today. Any questions you have, or any? Sweta,
So how
there,
the
Sweta?
websites are?
Yeah, how the?
See, the technical flow is that way. Like you book the overtime in some info type, right? Then in any situation, you have to run the time evaluation.
Not necessary. So if you are maintaining info type 2005, it will go through.
Okay, so if you run the time evaluation, then it means it is updating the cluster, general table, etc.
Yes. It will hit your cluster. And from the cluster, it is an interface to your payroll. So it will be processed in your payroll. So provided that time evaluation should be or must be run before the payroll is run. Okay. So for that particular
how payroll is selecting the waste types? I mean, how the system will know? How the system will know that for this overtime, this waste type should be selected?
So means for a particular, whenever you have done the configuration for the specific waste type, you've already defined, right? Like which overtime will be, suppose if it is a 1.5 number of hours or 2 hours, the calculation will be happening. So whatever the waste type you have configured, that setting I have shown to you, right? That time where we have maintained that specific waste type against that particular time type. So accordingly, that calculation will be happening. Means whether it is 2 times of your normal pay or 3 times of your normal pay. Okay, so that flow, you don't worry. I'll be sharing a document with you. Okay, so that will explain how the entire flow will work. Okay, so now we have studied like we understood the topic wise, but how the flow will work, I'll be sharing one blog. I will just check that if it is available with me. Otherwise, I have to search for that. Okay, I had that document an entire end-to-end process because it is one of the most important question they will be asking if you're going for any kind of interview also. So how this overtime workflow actually in the entire end-to-end process. So I'll be searching for that document. I think that document I have. So that I'll be sharing with you how this means from your time management towards end at the ending with your payroll. Okay, so that I'll be sharing with you. Anything else?
Possible, try
Sweta?
to share us during this weekend.
Yeah. So I'll be sharing that. I think it is one of the SCN blog only. So a long time back I have seen that. So one of the person he has shared that blog with me. So I'll be checking that blog and I'll be immediately share with you if I'm getting. Otherwise tomorrow I'll be sending. Okay. Okay. That's all. Thank you very much.